I need lights!
Marker!
Roll camera!
We have speed!
Action!
Are you there? What do you miss about him?
I miss his voice. I miss his voice telling me he loves me.
Me too. After he died, I found this key in my dad's closet. How can I find the lock that it fits? What's it got to do with my dad?
I told you I didn't know anything about your father.
Best newcomer Thomas Horn as 9-year-old Oscar Schell. A very bright, determined young man who is searching the 5 boroughs of New York City in search of a lock that fits a key that he found in his father's closet, a father he desperately misses because he was taken from him on the attacks on 9/11 in the new movie Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. So Oscar's search helps him deal, or actually distance himself from the grief, despair, and horror of what happened to his family in losing his father on 9/11. And he goes through borough, systematically, brilliantly systematically, tracking down what little clues he has as to who the key could belong to and what secret will it unlock, believing that his father is trying to secretly send him a message. Well, this, of course, concerns a little bit his mother, played by Sandra Bullock, and he unites him with a strange and quiet but helpful old man, played by Max von Sydow, as the boy searches desperately to find that lock that'll fit his father's key.
He must have wanted me to find something. What does it open? So many people will enter and leave your life. Dad said, you can't be afraid. Sometimes we have to face our fears.
Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is a heavy melodrama that benefits from a stellar cast and a wonderful performance by newcomer Thomas Horn as the 9-year-old boy who's trying to distance himself from the horrors of what happened, and also in a way trying to make it something he can understand on 9/11, and also to avoid grieving with his mother about the loss of his dad. It benefits from a wonderful performance by him, by Sandra Bullock as his mom, and of course by Max von Sydow as an elderly gentleman who really doesn't talk too much, but there's a connection between him and the boy that you have to discover as it goes along, as he helps the boy search for the key, and the boy, who's almost antisocial really, except for the search for the key, helps him grow and become more independent and learn to overcome some of his many fears. These are some powerful and touching scenes, but ultimately the movie suffers from focusing on the horrors of that day. This is supposed to be a movie about dealing with the grief and moving on and remembrance, but with so many flashbacks and so many recreations of what happened that day, the audience member, the viewer, is going to be taken back to themselves to that day. And since this is not, to the best of my knowledge, this is not a true story. It's not based on the events, of course, of 9/11 are, but this particular story is fiction. So it feels a little forced, and it feels heavy-handed, and it makes it unpleasant to watch. We don't need a recreation of 9/11. We've seen it. We don't need to see the kid imagining the images of what happened to his father on the horrible day of 9/11 in the World Trade Center. We have it on video. We have it. We've seen it. People have lived it. So this movie almost seems to exploit the event of 9/11 in order to deliver some very strong performances, and obviously in hopes of getting Oscar consideration. So if you're up for a very heavy melodramatic film that's going to disturb you and also upset you, then Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is a film that you want to see. I, on the other hand, really can't recommend it because there's just, except for the strong performances, it's not a story that I think, since it's not based on a true story, is worth sitting through 2 hours and 20 minutes of nightmares and horrors and images that we've seen too often on every anniversary of 9/11. So I'm going to give the movie 2 popcorns out of 4 for the performances, but I'm not recommending it. Looking at the Movies, I'm Kim Finnerty, online and on the air every Sunday afternoon at 1 on FM News and Talk 95.7 and AM 600 KOGO.